Good afternoon. I am Vanessa Thomas with the 4 o'clock news on the street, 919 FM, and online Facebook and YouTube. In the headlines, man beaten and shot at after confrontation with a woman. Man shot dead in Kokorit. 50 people test positive for COVID-19 at schools since physical classes resumed. And internationally, Japan train driver sues over 49 cents in docked wages. And now the news in detail. A 45-year-old man was beaten and shot at in Arima yesterday. Police were told the victim was at his home along Righteous Road when at about 3:30 p.m. he got into a confrontation with a woman he knows. A 14-year-old attempted to intervene and stop the argument. However, when he was unsuccessful, he left and returned with a group of men. The suspect was tied up and beaten with a piece of wood and planassed with a cutlass. However, he heard an explosion and realized one of the men was armed with a gun. The man fired a shot at the victim's door, then fled the scene. The police were notified. A shooting in Kokorit has left one man dead. The deceased was identified as David Ferreira of Sage Street, Kokorit. Reports state at about 10:45 p.m. yesterday, residents of the area heard a commotion, and upon investigating, they observed Ferreira fighting with a man on the roadway. They then heard gunshots and found Ferreira on the ground with gunshot wounds. He died at the scene. At least 50 people have tested positive for COVID-19 since schools reopened for students from Forms 4 to Form 6 on October 4th. The statistics reflect confirmed infections up to November 5th and were provided by Dr. Avery Hines at the Ministry of Health's media conference on Wednesday. Giving a breakdown, Dr. Hines disclosed the statistics in relation to the educational districts as follows. Port of Spain and environs, 5 confirmed. St. George East, 16 confirmed. North Eastern, 12. Caroni, 3. St. Patrick, 7. Victoria, 5. And South Eastern, 7 confirmed. The Ministry of Education has not officially released aggregated data related to the coronavirus outbreaks at schools. Internationally, a Japanese train driver is suing his employer after he was docked 56 yen or US 49 cents in wages for causing a brief delay to the country's famously punctual rail system. Train company JR West fined the man after a work mix-up in June 2020, causing a 1-minute delay to operations. It argued that no labor had been performed during the stoppage. The employee is seeking 2.2 million yen or US $19,407 in damages for mental anguish caused by the ordeal. According to a Japanese news site, the unnamed man was scheduled to pilot an empty train to Okayama Station in the south of the country, but he arrived at the wrong platform while waiting to take over from the previous driver. By the time he realized his mistake and had rushed to the correct platform, the transfer between the two drivers had been delayed by 2 minutes, leading to a 1-minute delay in the train's departure and a 1-minute delay in warehousing the train at the depot. JR West initially docked the man 85 yen or US 75 cents, but later agreed to reduce the fine to 56 yen after the driver took the case to the Okayama Labor Standards Inspection Office. However, the employee refused to accept the reduction and has argued that the delay caused no actual disruption to the timetables or passengers as the train was empty during the incident. And that was the 4 o'clock news on the street, 919 FM, and online Facebook and YouTube. Recapping the headlines, man beaten and shot at after confrontation with a woman. A man shot dead in Kokorit. 50 people test positive for COVID-19 at schools since physical classes resumed, and internationally, Japan train driver sues over 49 cents in docked wages. Do enjoy your afternoon and continue to be safe. I am Vanessa Thomas. Aisha Wells, she's up next.
News from the street. 919fm.com. Broadcasting from Trinidad to the world. The Street 919fm.com.
Welcome the